Hello everyone and welcome to another round of racing here at VSK. We're here for the month of July and I skipped the intro recording in the actual building as it was a very hot day and I didn't want to overheat my GoPro. It ended up being triple digit temperatures, so water was very important here. Water was definitely very important here. And I'm going out for qualifying right now. I had cart number 10, which ended up being one of the, I would say one of the worst carts today. It wasn't fantastic. It definitely wasn't quite on the pace that I wanted it to be. So doing my little formation lap. I didn't really bother to get the tires up to temperature. This weather is all about keeping the cart from overheating. And if you do all that swerving, while you do get a good single lap, I tend to be a driver who likes to get more laps in. So I try to avoid it, at least in this weather. The driver in front of me is the current championship leader, or at least contender. He usually wins races, and today I was actually just a little bit faster than him, which was fantastic to see. But whether or not being faster than him means anything will be to be seen. As we come across the starter lap, this was one of my best laps of the session. Fast through the first corner, having to correct the steering just a little bit, that will slow the cart down. Now down into the second corner. Nice and wide, using all the track on exit. Cutting in a little bit earlier than I usually do. It's carrying more speed. Brake really deep into this corner, get the cart sliding. Cut that corner, go all the way wide again, all the way to the outside, and then cut back narrow. Stay on the power 100% throughout here. Just keep on the power, keep the speed up, keep the cart going, and across the line, here we go. And it ended up being a 40.8. Not my best performance, and especially in this session where we had a lot of the fast guys. It ended up being good enough for 9th. And that's one position off of the Group A split. So I'm front row for Group B. So it's pole position for the Group B Race 1. Here you can see the cart having a little bit of trouble starting, a worrying sign that I will definitely be taking a look at as we get out onto the track. Just hitting the gas a little bit, seeing how the cart responds, and seeing if it's actually working properly. Last month I did not upload any footage as I forgot to bring my GoPro. It ended up being one of both my best and my worst performances so far. I made the Group A split. I was competing for my first ever Group A podium. And final race, I got a broken cart. The cart was rattling, slow, and ended up dropping from 4th place all the way down to last. It was not great. Definitely not something I want to repeat here today. And you see, wave my hand just telling them, I'm slowing down. But yep, lining up for the start. I get the inside line, as I did qualify first for Group B. So we'll see how that goes. Lined up on the grid for the start. Ready for that green flag to be waved. 3, 2, 1, going right on the go. We get a better jump than P2. We're going to be in the front of the pack for the start of the race. You can see just holding the middle of the track, not going all the way to the outside just yet. Don't want to close off the guy if he does decide to go there. He does go side by side through the second corner, but through the third, this is all me, all my line. And now I'm going to be able to take the regular old racing line through this middle section and see if I can't just pull out a little bit of a lead to the guy behind. You can see getting bumped. This cart wasn't quite on the pace, but I sure was today as I clip that curb and go for the next. Now down onto the straightaway. It's going to be a little bit of a wider line than I'm used to. Go all the way to the outside and cut back so I can carry the speed through the straightaway. It doesn't matter as much the initial part. It just matters that I get through that section. Going almost out into the barrier, but keeping the cart steady. It's all about minimizing sliding. That's something I'm soon to realize, something I benefited a lot from realizing today. It was so hot outside. It only real way to avoid losing the kart throughout the race was to just keep it in its ideal temperature. Don't overheat it, don't overuse the tires, just let the kart do its thing, be nice and smooth. A big contrast to today when I'm recording this, recording my voiceovers for this. It was raining today, so the video's coming out late because I was unable to do any audio recording because rain on the window is quite loud and quite distracting. But going through the third section, the guy is right behind me still, right with me. Didn't let up for this opening part of the race. It is still lead from me, still very confident from me. I do quite like starting in front and ending in front. It is always a nice feeling to finish right where you started. As you can see, coming around onto the straightaway once more, you might even be able to glimpse his shadow, but not quite. You can see my shadow today. It was triple-digit temperatures in Fahrenheit this day, so it was a smoldering morning, especially considering how early it was. I ended up having to drink a lot of water because I was starting to get lightheaded between races, which is definitely not good. You can see coming across yet again. The big issue with the high temperatures is just keeping the engine in that ideal range. If the engine gets hot, it doesn't run as efficiently. If the tires overheat, well, they're go-kart tires. It takes a lot to overheat them. So there's usually not as big a worry, but there is still that little bit of trouble that can be caused by the tires. See, getting another little bump from behind. Just a reminder that they're right there with me. Just a reminder that I'm not pulling away yet. I'm not on the pace where I should be. Going through this middle sector yet again, down into the hairpin. This is a corner I'm getting quite adept at, quite good at. Enjoying myself a lot more through this section just by learning the circuit. First corner, what was originally my strength when first driving here, has become a trouble point. It's just hard to carry the speed. It's a very tricky corner. You're braking at about 40 miles per hour, 45 even, if you're doing fantastic. So it's a heavy braking zone into quite an aggressive corner. It looks like it's 90 degrees, but it's about like 100? It's a little bit more, so it's not quite a 90 degrees, it's more of an obtuse. As you can see, going down into the hairpin yet again. You still can't see the car behind me because he's right there on my bumper, right there with me. He wants that position, he wants those points. I am fighting for top 10 in the VSK championship right now. Last week did me great for points with the 4th place finish, even though I did, or not last week, last month. I did have that incident in the final race, but I did manage to score P4 for points, which is a lot more than I usually get, and something I want to do more often, something I want to push for as we come here next month. I want to see if I can't get a podium in Group A. It's far more difficult, it's far more challenging than I'm used to, but it's something I need to do, it's something I want to do. And you can see, looking back finally, seeing him right there with me, still not pulling away just yet. I switch on my tactic a little bit, you can see how smooth I'm going, how smooth I'm trying to be. Just gentle on the kart, letting the kart do its thing, letting the tires have the time to grip up, letting the engine have a little bit of time to cool down. Getting it nice and turned in, nice and smooth, something that I wasn't doing quite as much earlier. Now I'm really focusing on it, saying, hey, this is working. Let's keep this up. Coming down onto the straightaway once more for, what is that, the 6th or 7th time this race? It's been quite a bit. Crossing the line. We were setting some pretty good pace here. We were on par with our qualifying session, which just speaks to how badly I did during that first session, how poorly it impacted the whole day. What could have been easily Group A, I just messed up and ended up back farther than I needed to be. Another glance over the shoulder, seeing I'm just a little bit farther ahead this time. See if I can't extend that gap even further as we near the end of this race. near the end of the stint and get ready to move on to the next one. Crossing the line, white flag, final lap. I just need to keep it steady for this final time, and I will have first place in this first race. Of course, that is the end of my battles today. I'll still have that second race to see where I can end up on the podium or not. As we go through the middle sector for the final time, now down towards the hairpin. The kart behind is not close enough to make a move, so I'm going to stay to my line and just keep it steady, using all the speed I can gather. Coming across the line, I'm going to stay a little bit more narrow. You can see a lapped car up ahead. Got very close to passing some of the back of the field, and checkered flag. That's P1 for the first half of this race. P1 for the first half. Raising my hand to signal, hey, slowing down, be careful, as we bring it down into the pits. So yeah, as I was saying, I am a little bit late on getting this video up. I've had a very, very busy week. I have lots to do and still lots more to do. Packing, video editing, it's been quite a bit, so I apologize for that. I had been editing this morning, but a big rainstorm started, and that influences the recording because the water against my window is quite noisy with the rain. It was very, very intense, but it is thankfully over. We did got a flash flood warning and everything. And bringing the cart out for the final race of the day. This one determines the podium, this one determines the medals, and this determines the trophies. This is where all of the racing today matters. This is what all it comes down to. Bringing the cart out for the formation lap, you'll see, don't heat up the tires nearly as much as I usually do. I do drive it a little bit quick through this first corner. Just feel how the cart is driving. It's a little bit understeery at the front, but the throttle feels very, very aggressive. It feels like it gets off the line, and it feels like it doesn't turn quite as well. So I'm definitely going to have to pay attention to that for my driving. You hear the tires screeching already just with this regular turning. So it will take a little bit more effort to get it through the corners, but hopefully I'm rewarded with better lap times because of that higher top end. The engine definitely sounds like it's in better condition than most other karts. So, lining up on the grid, we're going to see where we can end up, see if we can hold first place for the final race of the day. And they're getting ready to wave the flag. 3, 2, 1, and it's green, green, green. The guy on the outside gets a little bit of a better launch, but I'm still here on the inside. The inside line's so much better through that first corner. A quick glance over my shoulder, and I know I'm clear to just take my line. The kart is feeling fantastic. It's feeling great. Let's see what we can do with it. As I'm back on my regular racing line, not worried about defending already. Very nice sign for me to not have to defend so early into the lap. The guy behind already started to battle with P3 a little bit. That does give me a huge advantage up at the front of the field. Don't have to worry nearly as much on this first lap as I would usually. I had a lot of drive this race. I wanted to just push, see where I could end up, make up for that poor qualifying session, and see if I can't do better. Going through that first corner, just struggling with the steering. That front end a little bit, as I said before, front end just not as grippy as I'd like it to be, but the throttle is so good. I didn't have to defend from behind because I had already pulled out a second on that first lap. My lap was a 43, theirs was a 44 on just that first one. So that does make a huge difference as we go through. I was feeling phenomenal with the kart. It was driving exactly like I needed it to, exactly like I wanted it to. And now coming across the line again, I don't have to go nearly as wide, don't feel nearly as much pressure to carry that outside line, to carry the speed as I would. Again, struggling with that corner. You can see me shake my head, not happy with how it's turning in, but definitely happy with how the kart is driving in a straight line. Everywhere else on track, it feels fantastic, but that first corner is just causing me so much difficulty, so much trouble through just the first corner. Understeering just a little bit everywhere. That's something I have to adapt to, something I have to get used to very quickly, because I'm not letting it settle down. Going through that final sector again, and onto the start-finish line. Let's see what we can do as we push again, trying to not mess up that first corner. It's crucial to get that first corner right. It determines a huge portion of your lap time. Bouncing again, not happy with it, not happy with it still as we go through this section. There's a lot to do with this car, a lot to get used to with this car. As we go down through corners 3 and down into 4, we're gonna see as we go across, we're getting faster and faster every lap. Our first lap was already faster than our opponents, our second as well. So let's see where we can end up as we continue our push at the front of the field. And across the line again, across that pit straight again. I was setting 39s this race. Phenomenal pace compared to qualifying where I was nearly stuck into a 41. A 40.8 as my qualifying lap. I was smashing it here. Over a second a lap faster to my qualifying. Over a second a lap faster to P2, so it'll take a big mistake from me in order for those karts to catch up. You can already see them. I can already look back and see them. I can already look forward and see them. As I go through this hairpin, you'll see them on the right side of the track there. Or maybe not as I go through too quickly to see. Down across the start-finish line again. Fantastic pace for me today. You can see me look behind me in a little bit of disbelief. I didn't know where they were. I didn't know if they were keeping with me or not. Now, down to this first corner, you can see just how much speed the kart is carrying compared to the other one. How much throttle it can get. You see those karts on the right. Those are the guys directly behind me. I'm pulling a massive gap here. I'm on fire. Just as the track is. So let's see if we can't keep on pushing. See if we can't set some fantastic pace here. Which I'm already doing quite well in. As we go across the line another time. I was running faster pace than all of Group A this race. So I was quite pleased with that. As we go through the start-finish straight, through that first corner, and finally getting it right. Finally nailing the line and not messing up. That's going to be huge for lap time. And it's going to be a big pressure on the guys behind as they see me just pick up the pace a little bit more. Every lap, picking up that pace more and more and more. It was all about smooth driving here. Minimize the kart sliding. You don't want to slide in this weather. You don't want the kart skipping around. That overheats the tires. It overuses the kart. And most importantly, it doesn't let you get on the throttle nearly as much as you need to. Across the finish line again, you can see me nod my head. I'm quite happy with this kart. I'm feeling in the groove, feeling in the pace. As we go down through the second corner yet again, carrying so much speed. Finally getting to grips with that understeer front end. What seemed like a curse originally was actually a blessing. It lets the kart be so stable, so smooth through these corners. Something that I was not anticipating, something I was not ready for. You can hear the sound of small little rocks hitting my visor. I ended up with quite a few scratches to my silver visor, which was unfortunate. It is something I very much like. Nodding my head again, very happy with it. And through the first corner, taking it nice and smooth. Very pleased with how the kart is handling. Carrying so much speed, running all the way to the sides of the walls. Every inch of track space being used. As the kart bounces around a little bit on the straight, but it's not really going to matter. It's not going to impact me as a driver. Going through, down into the hairpin, you can see the lapped cars already. I may catch them before the end of this race. I may well get some overtakes done without losing a position at all. As we go down onto the start-finish line again, down towards that first corner again. Very happy with the kart, pushing as hard as I can here. I was on a mega stint. I was on a mega run here as well. Running it all the way out, every corner, all the way to the edge of track limits. Every inch that I can, I'm going to use. And again, just smooth through this section. What usually is a tricky section is just feeling great in this car. Feeling so fantastic today. As we go down towards the start-finish line, I will catch up with the back of the field at this rate. Back markers might slow me down, though. Might cause an incident at worst, which might let P2 catch up. So it's all about navigating through as smoothly as possible. The guy in front, we're going to make a massive dive bomb on the guy. Easily making the pass. He didn't even try to defend. Seemed to have realized that I was in the lead of the race and let me by. So nice, respectful driving from him. I appreciate it. Now, coming up to the guys in front, they know certainly that they are not in last place, so they may well defend, not knowing that it's the leader approaching. And a small mistake, I have to slow down. It's going to cost me big time. And he doesn't realize I'm right behind him. He does now see me right behind him, but he doesn't know that it isn't for position, doesn't know that he's going to get the blue flag finally and let me by. So another position that isn't really a position, but it certainly puts a car in between me and second place. Second place, which you can only see is going through the first corner right now. I've pulled out an incredible lead here, a fantastic lead that I may well not be able to fall back from, even with a huge mistake. That's 11 seconds that they have to gain on me. 11 seconds that I don't think they're going to gain on me as I go down towards the start-finish line, shaking my head just a little bit, not quite happy with it, and going across the line. White flag, final lap of the race. Let's see if we can catch up to this back marker before we hit the end. Going down towards the second corner, braking nice and late, getting it turned in, a little bit of bouncing, a little bit of overspeed, but we're going to use all the track on exit, all the track on entry for corner 3. Now down towards four, it's all about braking as late as possible, and I certainly do that using all the track available. Again, just nearly clipping every curb, or not every curb, every wall, as we don't have curbs here. Unfortunately, I would love for that though. As we go down towards the start-finish line, we're going to see if we can't make the move on this guy. But he's just going to pinch me into a wall. I don't trust it, so I back out of the move, keep safe as I get the checkered flag. It is race end for me, and a victory here in Group B. What started as a bad day turned into a fantastic one. Lapping part of the field, it was 11 seconds by the end to P2. I was gaining a second a lap. Pulling out a second a lap to the driver behind was an incredible result for me, and well made up for my qualifying session. Nearly a second up on my qualifying lap. So there was so much to gain with just the kart choice. You can hear a little bit of celebration there. I was quite happy, and definitely going to enjoy standing on the podium today, which you will see shortly here as I did record it. Bring it into the pit lane nice and gentle, slowing down after what was a brilliant performance. So to conclude a fantastic day of racing here at VSK, you have the podium ceremony. There's P2, the driver who was directly behind me, and then there's me standing right in front of the camera, going to get my third medal ever at VSK. And the 6th race of the season, so I've won 3 races in my time here out of 6. That's a 50% win rate, something I'm quite pleased about. I will be again here next month, and you can expect to see that on my channel. Have a good one.